All right, we are in episode 28. We're doing our first Dire Straits misheard song lyrics. It's from their song Money for Nothing. The misheard lyrics that I've heard from for many years is money for nothing and your checks are free, which the real correct lyrics is money for nothing and your chicks are free. Not the little baby cute chicks, but women. Ew. Mentioned we had talked about this actually many times, this song specifically. We mentioned it earlier in episode 9 with my friend karaoke jockey Mark. His take on it is whenever someone would come up to him at a karaoke bar, if he was KJing or being the karaoke jockey for, and he'd ask him, "Are you sure you want to sing this? Are you sure? Because there's that line in there." And I think apparently a pair of young dudes tried to do it and then they realized, oh crap, there's that line. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on regarding the controversy of this song. And then recently, we just talked about this on episode 24 with our Karaoke from Hell MC Tao. We love Tao. And that we found out when she did her misheard on the Police's Don't Stand So Close to Me, we learned that Sting was part of the song, and the song part or the music part of Don't Stand So Close to Me was also used in this song with the chorus. So we'll talk more about that. So let's start with who Dire Straits is. Now, Dire Straits is a British rock band. From their studio album, or 1985 studio album, Brother in Arms is where this song came from, Money for Nothing. It's actually a band that was formed back in London in 1977 by a man by the name of Mark Knopfler. He's the lead vocals and lead guitarist. His younger brother David Knopfler did the rhythm guitar and backup vocals. I didn't know his brother was in the band. And John Isley played bass guitar and backing vocals, and then Pick Withers was drums and percussion. They were actually active from 1977 to 1988, and again from 1991 to 1995. Dire Straits is one of the world's best-selling music artists with album sales over 100 million. I can't believe that. Their first single, Sultans of Swing, from their 1978 self-titled debut album, reached the top 10 in the UK and the US charts. And then, of course, their next song was followed by, never heard of this one, but Romeo and Juliet from 1981, Private Investigations 1982, and then in 1983 they had another single, Twisting by the Pool, the one that you and I all know about, 1985, Money for Nothing, and then the next one, Walk of Life, also 1985. Their most successful commercial album is the Brother in Arms album from 1985. That's how I remember them, with the two songs, Money for Nothing and Walk of Life, and has sold more than 30 million copies. So you want to think of that. Just that 1985 album alone, brought in a third of their millions. So that's amazing. Uh, it's also the first album to sell a million copies on a compact disc. So that's right, 85, and is the eighth best-selling album in UK history. And according to the Guinness Book of British Hit Albums, I didn't realize Guinness did that as well, Dire Straits have spent over 1,100 weeks on the UK albums chart, the fifth most of all time. And the influences that Dire Straits draws from are jazz, folk, country and blues, rock of J.J. Cale and Eric Clapton. So a lot of the guitar riffs, we can see the similarity. Their stripped down sound contrasted with punk rock and had some roots in rock influence that emerged from pub rock. There were several changes in personnel, with Mark Knopfler and Isley being the only consistent member. And after disbanding once again in 1995, Knopfler launched his solo career full time. Dire Straits won 4 Grammy Awards, 3 Brit Awards for Best British Group twice, 2 MTV Music Video Awards, and various other awards. And they were also inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2018, so just recently. So now we know a little bit about Dire Straits. Let's talk about more about the song. So the song's lyrics are written in the point of view of supposedly two working class men watching music videos and commenting what they see. And we'll go into detail what the lyrics are about, and lead singer and guitarist Mark Knopfler describes how he wrote it and why. Did you know that the song featured a guest appearance? Here's the connection with Sting by singing backup vocals. He provided the signature falsetto introduction and the backing chorus of the I want my MTV, which sounds like don't stand so close to me? Yes. The groundbreaking video was also the first to be aired on MTV Europe. And when the network launched on August 1 of 1987, I didn't realize that. I assumed MTV Europe started the same time in Americas, but it sounds like it was many years later. It was Dire Straits' most commercially successful single, peaking at number one for 3 weeks in the United States. That's how I remember in '85 when I was a mere 13. Let's see here. For 3 weeks on the U.S. top rock charts, track charts, and number four in the band's native UK. Money for Nothing also won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal in 1986 at the 28th Annual Grammy Awards. And the video won Video of the Year at the third MTV Video Music Awards. So let's delve into about the music. So Knopfler modeled his guitar sound, that beginning riff that you hear, and throughout the song actually, on ZZ Top Guitar's Billy Gibbons' trademark guitar tone. And at that time, ZZ Top was everywhere, their videos as well. So it was, like they said, a staple of the early MTV, which Knopfler really was influenced by. And Gibbons had told Musician, I guess, magazine in 1986 that Knopfler actually reached out to him and asked help in replicating the tone, his guitar tone. And quote unquote, this is what Gibbons said. He said, he didn't do a half bad job considering that I didn't tell him a thing. So Knopfler figured it out. And for you guitar geeks out there, they said the guitar sound was made with a Gibson Les Paul guitar going through a Laney amplifier with the sound enhanced by the accidental position of two Shure, or SHURE, SM57 microphones without any processing during the mix. So if you want to try to replicate it, that's what Mark Knopfler did. And then following the initial sessions, at which the particular part was recorded, Neil Dorsman attempted to recreate the sound during subsequent sessions at the Power Station in New York, but was unsuccessful. And then Knopfler also chose to use the Les Paul on a couple of the Brother in Arms tracks. I don't know if this Neil Dorsman used also a Les Paul, maybe not. The recording contains a very recognizable hook. Yep, as soon as you hear that hook. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you know, it's that song. In the form of a guitar riff that begins a song proper. The guitar riff continues throughout the song and played, throughout all the verses and in full even after the chorus. Apparently there was a longer version of the song, but the extended overture was actually shortened, of course, for radio music, so they shortened it up a bit. So we're going to delve into the lyrics and the controversy of the lyrics and what makes a lot of KJs like Mark, my friend Mark, nervous when people want to sing this song. So Mark Knopfler described the writing of the song in a 1984 interview with a critic by the name of Bill Flanagan, and this is what we found on Wikipedia and other sites. He says, according to Mark Knopfler, quote unquote, the lead character in Money for Nothing is a guy who works in the hardware department in a television, custom kitchen, refrigerator, microwave, appliance store. So that part of that's already in the lyrics of the song. He's singing the song. I wrote the song when I actually was in the store. I borrowed a bit of paper and started to write the song down in the store. I wanted to use a lot of the language that the real guy was actually saying when I heard him because it was more real. So again, in 2000, Knopfler appeared on Parkinson on BBC. It's a show in England, I guess, and explained, or BBC One, and explained where the lyrics originated. According to Knopfler, he was in New York, so here's more detail, and stopped by an appliance store. At the back of the store, they had a wall of TVs, which were all tuned to MTV. So someone was very, very deliberate in wanting to display the TVs and also put it on one of the probably popular cable shows, which was MTV at the time. Knopfler said that there was a man working there dressed in a baseball cap, so kind of like in the video, work boots, and a checkered shirt delivering boxes, who was standing next to him watching. So there's two of these guys. As they were standing watching MTV, Knopfler remembers the man coming up with lines such as, "What are those? Hawaiian noises?" which is also in the song, "That ain't working," and etc. Knopfler asked for a pen again to write down these lines and eventually put those words to music. He felt that the first-person narrative of this character in the lyrics refers to a musician banging on the bongos like a chimpanzee and a woman sticking in the camera. Man, we could have had some fun, he says, quote unquote. He describes the singer as that little, here's the controversy, it's a word, starts with an F, rhymes with maggot. With the earring and the makeup, and bemoans that these artists get money for nothing and they're chicks for free. CHICKS for free. So groupies, whatever you want to call it. So the second did you know is apparently Motley Crue bassist Nikki Sixx claimed, that's what he claimed, that the song was about them and their outrageous lifestyle. In an interview, he related his own story that he felt that the members of Dire Straits were in that store that sold televisions and a row of TVs were actually playing Motley Crue videos at the time. For that, we don't know, but this is what Nikki Sixx is claiming. The third did you know about the song, so many did you knows, that the songwriting credits are shared between Mark Knopfler and Sting. Here comes Sting again. Sting had stated that his only compositional contribution was the I Want My MTV, which followed the melody from his song Don't Stand So Close to Me. Sting used to come to Montserrat, so it's probably where Dire Straits resided, to go windsurfing, recalled John Isley, and he came up for supper at the studio. We played him Money for Nothing, and he turned around and said, "You've done it this time, you bastards." That's what Sting said. Let me do it in an accent. "You've done it this time, you bastards." Oh, that's bad. Anyway, Mark said if he thought it was good, why didn't he go and add something? And he did that bit there with the I Want My MTV. And when I talked about it in episode 24 with Tal, it was interesting because in that podcast, it was discovered that Sting was just like, I'm going to add my stuff, even use that kind of same music from my song, and didn't want any writing credit until his record company found out about it and said, "Oh no, that's from your song with the Police. You can't just be giving that away." So later on, the record company insisted and they changed it where they were getting writing credit and, of course, some moolah or money, right? Not checks for free, chicks for free. So that's the Sting connection again. So I thought that was interesting. And then the controversy. Obviously, the lyrics of the song. A lot of it was criticized for its homophobic slur. Again, it's the word, um, it's the, I don't even want to say it. It's the word that starts in F and rhymes like maggot. And so that had, I guess, in a Rolling Stone magazine, Mark Knopfler expressed some mixed feelings regarding the controversy. So here's his quote. Per Mark Knopfler, he says, "I got an objection from the editor of a gay newspaper in London. He actually said it was below the belt. Apart from the fact that there are stupid gay people as well as stupid other people, it suggests that maybe you can't let it have so many meanings. You have to be direct. In fact, I'm still in two minds as to whether it's a good idea to write songs that aren't in the first person to take on other characters. The singer in Money for Nothing is a real ignoramus, hard hat mentality, someone who sees everything in financial terms. I mean, this guy had a grudging respect for rock stars. He sees it in terms of, well, that's not working yet. The guy's rich. That's a good scam. He isn't sneering." And it's interesting that Mark Knopfler says that because obviously he used that word particularly because he could have said, instead of the maggot, he could have said, jerk or something else, but he had to use that. And that, of course, and nowadays in 2020, ruffles a lot of feathers. So Dire Straits often perform the song in live concerts, and it's funny because you would think he'd stand by that, and he doesn't. And when on tour, when that second verse would go on, he would change that word to Queenie. So instead, he'd say, "See that little Queenie got the earring and the makeup, and that little Queenie got his own jet airplane. He's got a helicopter. He's a millionaire." He should have just used Queenie. So that's the controversy that has followed this song from 85 until now. And now let's talk about the video. I remember seeing this again at 13 and I thought, whoa, that's cool. It's a cartoon, it's animation. You look at it now, look at it on YouTube or you just type in Money for Nothing and it looks so blocky and just weird. But back then it was amazing. So the music video features really early computer animation illustrating the lyrics. And apparently this was the first video that was the first use of computer animation, human characters. And the last did you know was apparently Mark Knopfler was not all enthusiastic about doing a video. He just wanted to perform. He thought the videos kind of destroyed the purity of songwriters performers and that they had to convince him that it was the right thing to do. It was actually MTV execs saying, "Hey, we want to have airplay with your music, but no one's just going to want to just see you guys standing there playing guitar." They needed a concept. So at that time, the MTV connection by the name of Baron flew to Budapest, I guess, to convince Knopfler of this concept. And after meeting together after the gig, Knopfler was still not impressed. He's like, I don't know if I want to do this. But at that time, his girlfriend, apparently, this is what the story is, was at hand, and according to Barron, he says, quote unquote, luckily his girlfriend said, he's probably right. There aren't enough interesting videos on MTV. And that sounds like a brilliant idea. Mark didn't say anything, but he didn't make the call to get me out of Budapest. So they went ahead and did it, and that's what we see here. So, a man by the name of Ian Pearson and Gavin Blair created the animation, and here's for you animation geeks. He used a Bosch FGS 4000 CGI system and a Quantel paintbox system. So probably at that time in the 80s, the highest quality and pretty innovative. The animators went to found Computer Animation Studio Mainframe Entertainment. So later that became Rainmaker Studios, and referenced the Money for Nothing video in an episode of their reboot series. The video also includes stage footing. So I remember you see Mark Knopfler and the band performing, but they kind of put that in there with the animation. And they do a thing called rotoscoping in bright neon colors, as seen on the cover, as well as the compilation album of the same name. So, what is rotoscoping? So, rotoscoping is an animation technique that what animators do is they trace over motion picture footage frame by frame to produce realistic action. So, you'll notice in the video, you'll see him playing guitar and he'll have like a neon uh, outline of him over it moving around. And it's usually originally was done by animators, projected photograph live action movie images onto a glass panel and traced over the image. And the projection equipment is referred to as rotoscape. That's what they call it. Developed by a Polish American animator, Max Fleischer. So thank you, Max Fleischer. But now the device was eventually replaced by computers. But then it was all done by hand. But that's what they used for this video. So, pretty innovative, like I said. In 85, I thought it was pretty cool with that guitar riff at you and the song itself. And with the reception, Rolling Stones actually listed this song as the 94th greatest guitar song of all time, noting how Mark Knopfler traded his pristine, rootsy tune for a dry, overprocessed sound achieved by running a Les Paul through a wah-wah pedal on a track that became one of MTV Network's earliest hits. And the video was awarded, of course, Video of the Year among many other nominations at the third annual MTV Video Music Awards in 1986. So that's what you need to know about Money for Nothing, and the chicks are free, not checks, as I thought. And the controversy, and again, Sting's involvement. It's just interesting who knows who and who jumped in. And of course, with studio execs and album execs, were like, oh no, you're going to get some money for giving him a little bit of your help, as well as the singing of it and using the same music from Don't Stand So Close to Me. If you have any great examples like this or any other songs with a misheard lyric, please send us an email at misheard, MISSHEARD, songs at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, you guys, please rate us on iTunes. The more you do, the higher we get up and the more people know about us. So I beg of you, we need it and we love it, especially when you guys tell us how we're doing. And if you want to be on the show, let us know if you're locally in town, or maybe we can do an interview over the phone. So please keep listening, and remember, money for nothing. It's not checks for free. Have a great week. Thanks.